Hey everyone, welcome to the Curly Carnivore channel. My name is Diana and I want to share my 30-day update on carnivore. I'm a new carnivore and I'm here to help heal my spinal ligaments and my neurological disorders. My diagnoses are up on the screen. There's a lot of them, and I also have just so many neurological symptoms, including dizziness, POTS, vertigo, tons of balance issues that I'm trying to heal. I was in an accident 3 years ago and I was injured by a pharmaceutical antibiotic. And so I have a pretty complex health case and I've been told that I'll be disabled for life. There's very few treatment options for my spine, including a very risky and invasive spinal fusion. And then the other side is experimental treatments, which I am doing. So I do have my third stem cell procedure coming up, and that will mark my 11th spinal procedure, which have helped me be upright, but I'm really here to heal my neurological condition and all the tissue in my body and fully heal so I can get my life back. And I'm really excited to say that there have been a few health changes already in the last 30 days. So for 30 days, I ate meat, including chicken, pork belly, which I absolutely love, and lots of beef. And I was also drinking milk and cream in my coffee, my decaf coffee, and I was eating goat cheese, mainly keeping the dairy in there to overcome sugar cravings. I also was eating eggs, butter, and for seasonings, I had sea salt at every meal, and I would sometimes use ground pepper and onions and garlic to taste in a bone broth, but wouldn't actually eat them. And eventually I'm hoping to go stricter carnivore and then really going on to the lion diet. So for a keto flu, I did experience the keto flu. The keto flu is a set of flu-like symptoms that you can get when you're transitioning from a high carbohydrate diet to a low carbohydrate diet and a high fat diet. And you'll enter a metabolic state of processing energy called ketosis. And ketosis is when we don't use carbs as our energy source, but we actually use fat for our energy source. And because the body is going through such a transition, there's going to be some health changes. So when you shed carbohydrates from your body, you're going to be shedding water because water will follow the carbohydrate and electrolytes will follow the water. So there's a big shift going on and people can experience all sorts of symptoms during that phase. And what I experienced was more fatigue than usual. I do have chronic fatigue, but I was experiencing more heaviness, I would say. And then I was experiencing a lot of muscle aches in my legs. Similar to the feeling of going and leg pressing at the gym or running and then feeling like you've had a really good workout, but the aches were not from that because I don't work out right now. And yeah, so I signaled to me that there could be some keto flu symptoms going on, and that's just electrolyte imbalances, the transition. So I was really grateful that I knew that those are what it was from. And then I also experienced a meat aversion and a loss of appetite, which I would argue is a lot to do with sugar addiction withdrawal symptoms. And for me, that was good to see because I think that my body wanted carbs. It wanted me to eat carbs and I was giving it meat and fat, and I just lost my appetite. So I would say that those symptoms that I experienced were, yes, could be the keto flu transitioning to ketosis, but also just experience like sugar addiction withdrawal. And sugar is so addictive, which this whole process has made me realize. I have some notes here, so let's get into the health changes. The first one is sugar cravings. So I had really severe sugar cravings, and I would say that after 2 weeks of starting carnivore, they're getting less severe, they're getting less frequent, and I'm not as snackish, but they're not fully gone. And I would say that even though my sugar cravings have decreased, I've realized that I'm addicted to sugar. And it's a really powerful insight to have because it makes me feel like I have control over the situation more once I recognize that. I started having dreams about cake, honestly, last week, which was so weird and kind of funny, but I was genuinely dreaming about like tiramisu and my favorite desserts. And I think it's because Valentine's Day was coming up, and on social media, there was tons of cakes and sweets and people talking about chocolates. And it was kind of a trigger for my brain to want those things, which was really interesting. And some of the things that helped me overcome that sugar addiction was having that cream, having that milk in a decaf coffee, and getting a little bit of that comforting creaminess in my drinks. But it's interesting because milk does contain the carbohydrate lactose. So I don't know if you're getting kicked out of ketosis when you drink these milk products. I was watching a video by Dr. Anthony Chaffee, and he did say that when you consume dairy, you are getting kicked out of ketosis, which is really interesting. So for my next phase of 30 days, I am going to remove dairy and see if that helps my sugar cravings. Okay, my second health outcome was my skin. My skin has cleared up for sure. I have a clearer complexion and I'm getting a lot less acne on my chin. Typically a few days before my cycle, I'll break out on my chin, and that has not happened, which is really exciting. And the other thing I noticed is that my face seems less puffy, especially if I look at pictures of before I started carnivore, but my face felt very puffy, and I think that that's due to reduced inflammation. And then the third outcome that I've noticed is something I made a reel about because it was so early on and so exciting, but by day 10 of carnivore, I had significantly less menstrual pain. I had no cramping, no nausea, and no ovary pain or aches before my cycle. And then during my cycle, I just had very mild cramping, which has never happened. And I definitely attribute it to carnivore and potentially reduced inflammation. And I do want to talk about it here because you don't often see discussions around women's health in carnivore, especially with menstrual cycles. And I know a lot of women struggle with such severe pain during their cycles that they're on very strong prescription medications. So I did want to share this really exciting health outcome that I've experienced with regards to menstrual pain. So the fourth health change that I have experienced, which I was not expecting, it's not one of my goals, is weight loss. So I have lost weight, and others have commented on this as well. As you guys know, which I just described, I'm really aiming to heal more of my neurological symptoms, my neck and spine, and my balance issues and dystonia. But the weight loss was such a great surprise because I do feel a lot better. When I eat food, I don't get bloated, I don't have gas, and I just feel like my tummy just feels flatter, and yeah, it's exciting. I've had people like my mom comment and say that I have lost weight, and my clothes fit looser. So typically in jeans, I'm a size 30, but I was starting to get size 31 jeans. And today I put on this pretty rigid pair of jeans that I've been avoiding. They're size 30 waist and they just feel a bit looser. So I will show you guys what I mean. I don't know if you can see, but there's just a little bit more room. And so I think my waist circumference has decreased. The next health change that I want to talk about is I stay full longer. So my eating window is probably between 11 and 7. So I'm not really getting hungry until 11 o'clock or even noon sometimes. And then I'm really hungry and I'll eat. And then I'll eat another meal at like 2 and then maybe some dinner. But I'm really not getting snackish after 7. So I have a pretty short window period, and it's almost eating period, sorry. And it's almost like I've started to intermittent fast on my own, which is really, really nice. Because that might be contributing to the weight loss as well. So I am staying full longer. So then the last health change that I do want to talk about, it involves electrolytes and just my body and a condition that I have called POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which is basically affects like my autonomic system, the blood pressure, and just circulation. It started after my neck injury. And so after I started carnivore, I started having really swollen ankles. Yeah, they were pretty swollen. I would say there was a pitting edema. So pitting edema is essentially swelling, and typically it's checked at your ankles where you can press into the ankle's flesh and you can release, and you can see how long it takes for blood to refill that pit that you've created with your finger. And if you press on your finger into the ankle, let's say, and you can see that there's a pit there that forms and it stays there. That's pretty severe pitting edema. And that might be something that your doctor will use as a clue to, you know, for diagnoses or talk to you about. So that is essentially how you check pitting edema. And I was having pretty swollen ankles. So one of the viewers here left such a helpful comment, and that's why I love this community, because your comments are really helpful to me. And so I want to say thank you to that viewer, because they noticed that I was eating a lot of salt, more salt than they were eating, which I started to do because that's what carnivores say. So I was adding, you know, sea salt to my food, but then I was also taking the element packs, the raw unsalted element packs, and I was getting really sick, first off, because the neck instability that I have is really impacted by magnesium, which relaxes your muscles. So when I was taking the element packs, I was getting such a loose neck because my muscles were relaxing, and I rely on muscle strength and support right now because my ligaments are so injured. And I've never heard people talk about that, so I did want to bring it up because a lot of people have different disabilities on carnivore, and I'm really lucky because I recognized it could be the magnesium because I've played around with magnesium already. And so I cut out the element packs. I eliminated the element packs and I felt so much better. And this viewer that I had who commented suggested using like drops of like elements and ions. You can just like drop them into your water. And I actually had some in my fridge from my naturopath. Okay, so this is the one that I use. This is the one that was recommended to me, Anderson's Health Solutions. And it has like elemental magnesium in it rather than magnesium citrate. And for me, it's been really great. So my leg swelling got so much better. And I just salt my food as normal with the sea salt that I love, and then I just add these drops into my water. And I think it's given me more control over the electrolytes for my condition personally, because I can control the amount of magnesium that I'm taking in with the drops versus like a whole pack of powder. And even when I cut the element pack in half, I was still not doing well. So I think there might have been too much sodium in my diet initially, and so I'm still playing around with electrolytes and seeing what works, but I think I have it a little bit more under control. So thank you so much to that viewer who suggested that, because it's really helped me. So has the carnivore diet helped my neurological symptoms? And the answer is no. So it's very early on and I'm not upset about it at all. I'm very hopeful still. I just feel very grateful that I've even experienced any health changes at all. Okay, so for the next 30 days, my goal is to cut out dairy and see if that helps me in any way and see if I feel better. But I'm also curious to know if dairy has been keeping me out of ketosis, because technically dairy is carbs as well. It has a carbohydrate, lactose. So I'm just curious to see if cutting out dairy actually helps my sugar cravings decrease, because I'm wondering if the dairy and the carbs, even though it's from an animal, I wonder if that's actually kind of keeping me in that addiction, sugar addiction cycle. So I'll try it. I think that 30 days is doable, obviously, and we can do anything for 30 days. I really believe that. So after that, I'm hoping to transition to the lion diet, and we're looking into butchering either 1/8 of a cow or a quarter cow from a local farmer, from a farmer that we trust for a lot of reasons. The main one being to save money, because beef prices are through the roof right now in Canada, and I'm sure in the US, but especially high quality meat from our butcher. I made a reel on it because it was so surprising, but we're hoping to save money. Actually, we will save money by butchering a cow and having it all in bulk like that. But also it means so much to me to know where the meat's from, to know the farmer, and to know there's no antibiotics in the meat because I was injured by an antibiotic. So yeah, we're really excited about that, and I'm just so grateful for this community, and thank you so much for watching this 30-day outcome video. Bye everyone.